Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room on this Whiskey Wednesday night. It is Bourbon Heritage Month, and we're going to kick it off. It's September tonight. How you guys doing? I am back in Ohio, back from New York. Had a great time with my family out there. Saw my grandma, my mom, my aunt, my uncle, all got to hang out. Celebrated my grandmother's 95th birthday. It was a really good time. Glad to be back in the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room here, the studio, to hang out with you guys. We're gonna have a really cool night tonight. We're gonna run through some bourbon history, and we are gonna drink some bourbons that kind of coincide with some of those great moments in bourbon history. So glad to see you guys. We have a lot of people in the chat already. We already have 50 in the chat. Just jumped in. So let me start saying hi to everybody. We had some really early viewers in here, including the pregame squad headed up by Trevor Wilson. Rebecca Page is here. Everyone welcome Rebecca. She has the night off. Thanks for coming in. Brandon Elliott came in early. Chad Wallace. I mentioned Trev Wilson. Juan Quintanilla is here. Arthur Lopez. We also have Steve A. Always a staple in the chat room. How you doing, buddy? Chris Otroskis here, Jason Coates, Rob Davey, Steven Sussman, Stellar Matrix is here, Joseph Brazo, what's up, buddy? We also have David Lawn is here, the Oak and Smoke Whiskey Reviews, what is up, Brent? The Bourbon Buddies is here, what's up, Neil? Sharper4221 is here, Mike Gonzalez, what's up going? How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you, man. Thanks for dropping in. Robot Scott is here. Who else we got? Nathan LeCompte is here. Nice to see you, man. Draman Kentucky's in the house. Paul Huff, Loch Ness, Eli, Radislav Traps is here. Andrew Spurrell, Kirk Bollinger, Charles Ashworth is here. My buddy Dusty Dan is in the house. More guys coming in. Doug Krisoff, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming in, man. Graham Young is here. Jimmy Jazz, good evening. Rebecca Page, she just poured some 1783. New Dram Drinker is here. Who else? Graham Young is here. Everyone's saying hi. Christine Daisy is here. How you doing, Christine? Thanks for coming in. And Matt from Whiskey Crusaders. How you doing, buddy? All right, we got a packed house already. Everyone coming in, capping, still making it happen. So, guys, before we get into the bourbon tonight, now I don't know if any of you guys from Chicago know about this specific bottle, but I got home from vacation on last night. Had a package waiting on my door from some good friends of mine in Chicago. So we talked about this bottle while I work with these guys as third-party partners. Love them to death. We've had a really good working relationship, and they talked to me about this liqueur called Malort. Any of you guys that live in Chicago area? Let me know if you've ever heard of this stuff. It's kind of infamous. So they sent me a bottle because they wanted to get my thoughts on it. So I have one right here. So it's called Jeppson's Malort. Let me know if you guys know what this stuff is. Let's see. Oh, Tammy Brennicke's here. Let's see. Who else came in? I did see... Who else came in here? ADHD Fishing is here. How you doing? He says, just threw an entire bowl of spaghetti on the floor, so I'm here just cleaning. That sucks, man. It's a waste of spaghetti. Come on. Okay. All right. So this is Malort. Now, none of you have heard of this. This is created by the Carl Jeppson Company, Chicago's local Beskbrandvin, a style of bitter, wormwood-based Swedish schnapps. So it's actually a liqueur. This is... Oh, Scott from My Bourbon Journey says, it's disgusting. Yeah, will this take over Jephthah is the worst thing I've tasted this year. But there's some really great, funny marketing stuff to this, guys. So this is distilled in Chicago until the 1980s when production was moved to Florida, where it remained until returning to Chicago in just 2019, this year, purchased by the CH Distillery. Now, the marketing facts for this one do not make it sound like it's going to be any good. Jepson's Malort has such a unique and interesting taste, it has inspired the following slogans over the past few years. Malort, kick your mouth in the balls. Malort, when you need to unfriend someone in person. Malort, tonight's the night you fight your dad. Malort, the champagne of pain. Turning taste buds into taste foes for generations. This is my favorite. Drink Malort. It's easier than telling people you have nothing to live for. So before we get into some bourbon, guys, I have to try this for these guys. They sent it. I hope they're watching. This is for you out there, Pete and Liam and Francie and Drew. Thank you so much for sending this. Let's get a taste of this stuff. All right, I'm going to put this down here. Hey, Brian Brennicke's in the house. Moose 76. Oh, God, it smells like nail polish remover. Ugh. The founder, who now owns Malort, describes it as taking a bite out of a grapefruit and taking a shot of gasoline. Yum. It does smell a little grapefruity. I will say that. But yeah, it's like grapefruit juice and rubbing alcohol. All right, I'm going for a sip of this to kick the night off, guys. Cheers. Oh, no. Oh, what is that? Oh, that's awful. Oh, my God. Water. Dear Lord. Oh, that is the most bitter. Oh, my God. That is like the most bitter grapefruit. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, all right. Never again. Nope, avoid the Malort. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that one. That's worse than Jephthah. Hands down, easily. Wow, that's bad. Oh, all right. Now to the real whiskey, guys. I don't know what wormwood is. I thought you said they were friends. Yeah, that is terrible, terrible stuff. All right. I think I just got a text from them saying, all right, so now we're going to get to the good stuff, guys. So in celebration of Bourbon Heritage Month, let's kick it off with a real good pour here. And I'm going to start with my Old Grandad here. This beautiful old bottle of Old Grandad from 1983. So a little bit of a dusty, guys, to kick the night off. Get that Malort out of my taste buds here. Pour some of that. A little bit of a dusty here, guys. All right. So cheers to you out there. Happy Bourbon Heritage Month. Thanks for joining me tonight in the whiskey room. Cheers to you guys. Thanks. Oh, that's more like it. Butterscotch, sweet. That's delicious. Woo. I like that a lot. No, it's not National Distillery Dram, man. It's a little bit, it's not as young as that, but this is from the Old Grandad Distillery in Frankfurt. So it's after, it's post that time. So, all right, so before we get started, guys, I do want to take a moment to thank my patrons. I just got another new patron called, his name is Stephen Swain. So Stephen Swain, if you're watching, big shout out to you. And also Bootlegger is also a new one. Thanks for joining, guys. Again, you could, whoa, I think we see, oh, we got the Dancing Ron Swanson. Arthur Lopez donated $4.99 through the super chat. He said, I was fortunate this weekend and found a bottle of Elmer T. Lee. I haven't cracked it open yet, so I'm hoping to have some we could toast with. Absolutely, Arthur. I will grab my bottle of Elmer T. Lee that we could toast with tonight. And in the meantime, this is for you, buddy. Nice. All right. So If you guys are thinking about becoming a patron, you can join for little as $1 a month. So yeah, check it out. Going to be doing some more things, some cool things on Patreon in the upcoming weeks ahead, including debuting my brand new T-shirt. So check it out, guys. Now for the whiskey news. Not a whole lot going on this week, guys. I tried to source some stories together, but a couple of big stories, kind of bigger stories, came through the pipeline today. And one of them was Pernod Ricard acquires Castle Brands for $223 million. So this is an acquisition. This is early in August. The brand announced the acquisition of Firestone and Robertson Distilling Company, which made the popular TX whiskeys. Now they plan to acquire Castle Brands for $223 million. Really, kind of the flagship one of this one is the Jefferson's bourbon. Also includes Arran, Clontarf, Goslings, and Napaud Castle. So really kind of a big portfolio. Well, I see dancing. Ron Swanson, Dark Meat Chicken, $5 to the super chat. Thank you so much. Since it's Bourbon Heritage Month, Jump the Creed for the world. I'm going to pass on that one. Maybe I'll have some a little later. If I get enough super chats, I'll cave and I'll have some Jump the Creed to finish off the night, guys. All right, so back to the second story, which is China adds further tariffs to the American whiskey and ongoing trade war. This is something that's been going back and forth, guys. The Chinese Finance Ministry has announced it will impose an additional 5% tariff on American whiskeys as part of the ongoing trade war between the United States and China. This is in response to the latest administration's plan to put a 10% tariff on $300 billion worth of Chinese goods. This is something that's going to go back and forth. Early in August, the United States Drinks Trade Group's petition for alcoholic products to be removed from the products in the line of fire. They claim that 78,000 American jobs in the spirits industry were being placed at risk. That's really something unfortunate. Some other stuff that you've heard, some other stuff that I've read, that it's really affecting some of the jobs and some of the short-term financial aspects of distilleries, especially newer ones that are trying to get their stuff overseas. So we'll see if anything changes in the meantime. News number 3. One I am super, super excited about. I don't know if you guys have heard about this one. This is Ardbeg launches its oldest permanent age statement released to date with Ardbeg Trebon. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, absolutely great. More whiskey for us. Absolutely. It's the first permanent age statement release for Ardbeg since its 10-year, debuted in 2000. Trayvon is named after the local Isla Beach, also known as the Singing Sands. The 2019 expression matured for 19 years in American oak and ex-Oloroso sherry casks. This will be released limited batches on an annual basis, with each batch bearing a unique code on the packaging, bottled without chill filtration at 46.2%, with an expected global release to begin mid-September for an MSRP of about $209 American. Hey, Chris Beaton's in the house. Yeah, I am fired up for this bottle. For $200, a 19-year at that proof point, I think I'm all over that. I would have to try that. All right, let's go into Jameson Caskmates. I think I mentioned this one on one of my previous live streams, but I found a better picture just in case none of you have heard about this one. This is Jameson has added 2 new marquees to its Caskmates hyper-local editions. The Irish whiskey brand features brewers from Washington State and Chicago. So Bale Breaker Brewing in Yakima, Washington brewed its Top Cutter IPA for the Jameson Caskmates Bale Breaker bottling. Then they seasoned its whiskey barrels with the craft beer. Finally, the barrels were filled with Jameson's signature whiskey to finish the maturation process. Same exact steps were taken for the Revolution Brewing edition. It's the Chicago-based Revolution Brewing crafted its Fist City Pale Ale for the barrel seasoning. Each limited edition is bottled at 80 proof and is available at select retailers for $30 a piece. So Jameson, keeping it at a great price point. If you guys are fans of the Jameson IPA, then we'll see if these will be any good. I still like the stout edition personally, but I definitely want to try these when these hit. And the last story of the night, guys, is the Four Roses limited edition barrel strength for 2019 has been released, and this is going to be very, very sought after. This will feature well-rested barrels aged 11, 15, and 21 years old. So this month, Four Roses Distillery will issue the newest release in its series of limited quality special bottlings, the 2019 limited edition small batch. This limited edition bottling follows the 2018 release named World's Best Bourbon in the most recent World Whiskey Awards. Now, the 2019 marks the first Four Roses limited quality bottling to feature a 21-year-old bourbon from the distillery's OBSV recipe. This release will also feature a 15-year-old OESK, a 15-year-old OESV, and an 11-year-old OESV. Now, they're the only bourbon distillery that combines 2 mash bills with 5 proprietary yeast strains to produce 10 distinct bourbon recipes. So this will be non-chill filtered, bottled at 112.6 proof. And this will be available Saturday, September 21st, beginning at 9 a.m. at the distillery, and then follow to roll out to the stores wherever they may be. So that is the news tonight, guys. I think I just saw a super chat come through. And there it is. Rick Haskew donated $24.99 to the super chat. Rick Haskew, you are a gentleman and a scholar, my friend. Thank you so much. One of my legendary drummer patrons. Thank you so much, Rick. That is for you. All right, guys. Let's see. What do you guys think of the... Danny says he likes the stout and the IPA. Not enough to get the new Four Roses limited edition. Did I mention the price? The price is supposed to be at $140 for that one. So a 20, with some 21-year-old juice in there, $140 limited edition. It's actually not a bad price when you consider today's market. Hey, just John Belushi's in the house. How you doing, man? All right, so let's get started with some bourbon history, as we're going to kind of walk through, and we're going to try some different bourbons as we talk about some different moments for Bourbon Heritage Month. So if you guys are surrounded by bourbons, this will be a good time to grab them, see if you could keep up, and as we're going to move from bourbon to bourbon. So let me move on to the history. All right, so first history story that I pulled for Bourbon Heritage Month was 1783, the Samuels family tradition begins. The Samuels family claims the title of oldest bourbon families and still going strong. Prior to 1840, the Samuels family did not produce bourbon commercially. Wasn't until T.W. Samuels, grandson of Robert Samuels, who created the secret family recipe, came along and constructed a distillery at Samuels Depot. Now, in 1943, after a break during Prohibition, Bill Samuels Sr. burned that famous family recipe. Bill Sr. wanted to create a bourbon without the bitterness, and so he did, and that became the famous Maker's Mark. The company is now in the hands of his son, Bill Samuels, who continues the family bourbon tradition today. So, in the spirit of that, grab your nearest Maker's Mark. So, one of my favorite Maker's Mark everyday bottles is the Maker's 46. I'm a huge fan of this one. So, I'm going to give this a pour, and I haven't had this one in ages, so I'm going to pour this one. Let you know what I taste, what this kind of smells like. So Maker's 46 is it's seasoned with, this one is seasoned with 10 French oak staves. So it has that French oak spiciness and some of that really nice flavor that you find in some of the private select Maker's Marks. So I'm going to try first some Maker's 46 with you guys. And just like, your usual Maker's recipes, there's some serious caramel corn influence, almost like Cracker Jacks. But there's that underlying Maker's Mark spice behind it. Love it. Bourbon Apprentice says, I'm a big fan of the 46 too. Like cask a little bit better though. Yeah, the cask strength is good. The only thing I kind of hold against the cask strength is it just gets too corn forward the more you sip on it. It's got a great proof to it, but I'm missing some of those deep, richer flavors. I feel like it should be a little bit older maybe. But this one I feel like the French oak staves adds a little bit of complexity to it. Or if you guys have T.W. Samuels, reach for that one instead. All right, here we go. Cheers, guys. Oh, see, I really like that one. This one has a spice and fruitiness to it that I don't find in some of the other Maker's Mark offerings. It's extremely forward with citrus, some dark fruits. It's got that level of French oak spiciness. I just realized the Italian hands are really flying around, guys. I was hanging out with my family this week. I'll try to keep them at bay a little bit. But yeah, so good. Definitely one of... So the Maker's 46 comes in at 94 proof. It's got a good proof point to it. It's a good price. It's only about $35. All right, so the second sip, the spice kind of goes away a little bit, but the fruitiness kind of stays. So I like it. Nick Foles, pick up anything new on your trip? Yes, I did, Nick. I got the new Stag, well, not the newest one. I got Stag Junior Batch 12. I got the new Mic Drop Batch 3. I picked up another bottle of Four Roses Small Batch Select because they haven't come into Ohio yet, so I couldn't get that. I did just recently get the brand new Michter's Sour Mash Toasted Barrel, so I'll be debuting that on a video very soon. Haven't opened it yet, guys, so I don't have it yet. It's on the way. It's being shipped, so can't wait to get my hands on that one. What else did I get? I actually found some good scotches, too. I picked up a Klein Leash 14 for only like $50. It was a sick deal. I found the Talisker 18, which I've been coveting for a long time. So found some good pickups. So batch 12 is the newest one, I believe. I thought 13 had started hitting the market, so I wasn't sure. Here we go. Sorry, guys, I'm going to start trying to checking in the chat here. Joseph Braza. Oh, yeah, I got the batch 11. I didn't get 12. That's right. Batch 12 is a higher proof. I got batch 11. That's right. Okay. Charles Ashworth, Flying Italian Extremity sounds like Sam's idea of a good night. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of different, expletives in Italian being flung across the room, but equally fun though. Oh yeah, okay. So I still got the spice. I really like Maker's Mark 46. I gotta say, and if any of you guys have the TW Samuels, then also such a great value bourbon as well. I can't get that here. I was looking for it today, but next time I'm in Kentucky, I'm gonna grab it. Nick Foles, damn, I'll be looking forward to the Toasted Sour Mash review. Is it 86 proof? I believe it is. All right. Next point in bourbon history, it is, well, that's the news. Let's go back to the history. Here we go. First commercial distillery in Kentucky, 1783. When Evan Williams opened his distillery on the banks of the Ohio River in Louisville, it was the first commercial distillery in Kentucky. The bourbon that still bears the distiller's name is one of the most popular bourbons today, and it is Evan Williams. So where am I going for Evan Williams, guys? If you've paid attention, you know where I'm going. And we're going to have a little Evan Williams bottled in bond. Hell yeah. This I can get for about $15. It's probably the closest thing that I found to the old Heaven Hill bottled in bond before they discontinued it. But I absolutely adore this stuff. So I'm going to get a little bit pour of the bottled in bond here. Now, if none of you have had this bourbon, you are missing out on an absolutely great value bourbon. This comes in, it's a bottled in bond, 100 proof. It's cheap, it's affordable, it's available. And Karen before just comes in with the dancing. Ron Swanson, a $2 super chat for celebrating Bourbon Heritage Month. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Karen. Thank you for celebrating Bourbon Heritage Month with me tonight in the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room. All right. Absolutely Moose 76, best value in town. Trev Wilson, yeah, he gets it for $14. Absolutely. This is, and totally agree with John Belushi, this is Rebecca Page. Go figure, I take the night off and it ends up being the Let's All Get Drunk episode of the Mash and Drum. Yeah. As As they mentioned on the Bourbon Road, Randy was calling me the smashed and drunk. Oh, Karen before donated another $10 through Super Chat. She gets the Dancing Ron Swanson again. Thank you so much, Karen. This is for you. You get a double chop. Awesome. Thank you so much. Karen, yeah, she is. Karen's coming in hot. Oh, she said it was supposed to be 10. Okay, I gotcha. So this is extremely peanutty up front. It's got a slight fruitiness to it, a lot of caramel, definitely get some vanillas. The proof point is great, that 100 proof, but it's really kind of underlying all the spice and the peanuttiness that's going on. There's a good amount of honey in here. Just such a great, well-rounded bourbon. It just goes to show you there's so many good bourbons out there for a good price. You don't have to spend, over $100 or hundreds of dollars to get anything that's this type of quality. I'll tell you one thing. I would take this Evan Williams Bottle and Bond over Blanton's any day of the week. All right, let's go for a sip, guys. Here's to Bourbon Heritage Month. Take 2. Oh, so good. It's still peanutty. You get a little bit more of a fruit characteristic on the mid palate. The front is all sugar, sweet, peanut, honey. It moves to the mid palate. You get a very, very quick burst of fruit. Then it finishes off with that 100 proof, some oak characteristic, but very sweet, light oak. Really not overpowering at all. It's just a delicious value bourbon for the money. Absolutely love it. Now, one other thing I'm going to be doing, guys, is while I go through these, I'm going to be making a quick blend. So here's my my mash and drum glass. So I'm going to take a little bit of the Maker's 46. Going to pour it in there. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the Evan Williams Bottle and Bond and pour it in there. And by the time we get finished up tonight, guys, we should have a nice blend, which I hope I'm reminding you guys, if you haven't gotten your blend to get in entries in, I'm going to extend it a little bit. So don't worry if you missed the September 7th deadline. You have a few days after that to get yours in. So, hey, Richie Z's in the house. How you doing? Cooper said he finished off his bottle of 1920 this week. I got to drive to the other side of the county to pick up more. All right, Coop. It's worth the drive, man. Put Blanton's in that Williams bottle and no one would want it. That might be true. Then add ice cream. Suddenly, it's a 4 grain. Absolutely. All right, next story coming up, guys, and the next bourbon we're going to be trying. We have 1785, Bourbon County, Kentucky is established. The stories are unclear as to how the whiskey distilled in the Kentucky area came to be named bourbon, but the modern borders of Bourbon County, Kentucky are not the way it was originally established. Old Bourbon County is comprised of 14 modern counties. So 1785 is when the Bourbon County, Kentucky was established. So always found that interesting. Whoa, we got a Dancing Ron Swanson. It is Chad Holly. Donates $4.99. Just wanted to see Drunk Ron again. Give me all the bacon and the Jap thing you have. Yes. Very good line, buddy. Here's to you, buddy. Woo! Awesome. All right. So for that one, I'm going to pour one of my favorite distilleries in Bourbon County. A little bit of Russell's Reserve Single Barrel. Now, this is a, obviously this is a Wild Turkey product. This happens to be a pick. This was actually the Father's Day pick that they released in Ohio. This is from Camp Nelson, Warehouse F, which produces some pretty funky single barrels. But I'm going to pour a little bit of my Russell's Reserve and have a little bit of this with you guys. Robot Scott is asking how many entries so far. So far, I only have 4, but while I was away on vacation, I got a bunch of emails with people that are ready to send theirs in. So I feel like there's a lot more coming in right now or very soon. What size bottle do we need to send it for the blend to get in? Probably I need at least 2 ounces. If you could send more, that'd be great. Okay. Enjoyed Russell's 10 earlier. Russell's Reserve might be my favorite bottle on the market. I can't turn down a new pick. Absolutely. I see a Russell's Reserve pick, and I usually go right for it. So this pick happens to be a really, really nice pick out of Ohio. They did a nice job with this one. This is cinnamon, cherry. This has more of those vanilla extract type flavors in this one. A little bit more of a candy caramel, like a Werther's Original Candy. Cinnamon spice. Really nice oak flavor. Those really quintessential wild turkey flavors, but a little bit amped up a little bit. Love it. All right, cheers, guys. Oh, so rich. Bourbon Buddies, Jason, I'll email you for an address to send my sample. Got it, man. And I do realize, I know somebody just mentioned that the hurricane kind of maybe slowed some mailings down, so we'll definitely give an extension for that. Blend Again will go on for a few weeks, guys, because I'm anticipating a good amount of entries, so I'll definitely get to everybody, and we'll go as long as we need to, crown the next winners. Man, baking spices all over the place. Get a little hint of a marshmallow in this one. That is a damn good pick. I might give away some samples of that pick tonight, guys, if nobody whoever wants to try that. It's just a really damn good Russell's Reserve pick. So I'm going to pour a little bit of this in the glass from my blend. I'm going to take some water. Brian Brennicky says, I picked up a Russell's Camp Nelson A pick a few weeks ago. Looking forward to trying it soon. Yeah, Camp Nelson A kind of stays pretty consistent from pick to pick. Some are a little bit better than others. But for some reason, the F picks just really kind of, some of them just go off on a tangent, like different flavor profiles. All right. All right, next story. Next up in the lore of Bourbon Heritage Month. Let's go to this news story. Oh, I keep doing that. Where are we at? Is that the right one? Yes. 1789, Elijah Craig. Now, this is kind of a debated story. It's been said that Elijah Craig invented bourbon by aging the already popular corn whiskey or moonshine. This is a disputed fact. Many believe that bourbon was not invented, but instead evolved with many hands in the barrel, so to speak, such as those who emigrated from Pennsylvania because of the whiskey excise tax. It is a fact that in 1789, Elijah Craig, Baptist minister, opened a distillery in Georgetown, Kentucky. Now, Heaven Hill Distillery produces a bourbon named after the inventor of bourbon. So you guys know what's coming up next. We're going to have a little bit of Elijah Craig. ADHD Fishing is the normal Russell single barrel, still a buy at $58. No stores have picks within hours and hours of me. Absolutely, ADHD Fishing. If I would still buy it, as it's one of those ones, and I'll put that right up there with Old Forester 1920 as one of the bourbons that if I run out of it or I'm getting close, I am going and replacing it immediately, even whether it be a pick or not. So absolutely. So tonight we're going to have some Elijah Craig small batch, 94 proof. Again, one of the best values, best buys in bourbon out there. Great flavor, amazing value as far as price and also availability. So love Elijah Craig. Hey, Whiskey Ace is in the house. ECBP. You know what? If I wasn't drinking so many bourbons, I might go into ECBP, but I'm going to kind of pace myself a little bit. That one might finally knock me on my ass. So, Elijah Craig, again, 94 proof, out of Heaven Hill. You know, the more and more I smell Elijah Craig when I go back to it, the more nuttiness I'm getting out of the newer bottles. Anybody kind of experiencing that lately too? I feel like Elijah Craig wasn't as nutty as it is now in the newer bottles that I'm buying. I don't know if it's just something having to do with the way they're batching them nowadays, but I feel like, it's always been nutty, but I just feel like it's way more, there's way more emphasis on it lately. Chris Atroska says he's drinking an Elijah Craig store pick now. It's delicious. Awesome. Ate my taco, back in the chat with some rare breed. Carl Ivy, nice. Richie Z says he picked up a Russell's Camp Nelson F store pick yesterday. That's a damn good pickup, Richie. Let me know how you like that one. B519 is only 122 proof. You'll be fine. Yeah, exactly. With the small batch, you can get nice store picks for about $25. Absolutely. Jason, with the small batch, you can get nice store picks for about $25. Yep, absolutely. I totally agree. They're going to be releasing a store pick of Elijah Craig in Ohio in the next couple weeks. So I can't wait. Yeah, Nutty Oak, absolutely. Arthur Lopez, I believe that is 132.3 for Stag Jr. Anybody could look up the batches real quick of the Stag Jr. to help out Arthur. I can't remember offhand what batch that is. That could be the newest one. Brian Walsh, Jason, what will you be drinking for tomorrow night's NFL kickoff? Go Pack Go. Yeah, man, to kick off NFL this year, probably going to go with, not sure. You know what? I have a bottle that I haven't opened yet that I've been wanting to open, and that will probably be this Knob Creek pick I have. It's actually right here. This is from Barrel and Brews in Nashville. This is about almost 15 years old, and it was, what, $45? I think I'm going to crack this open tomorrow night in celebration. I was actually with Karen B. Ford in Nashville. She introduced me to that store, and I picked this up while I was there. So I think this is going to be my dram tomorrow night. 132.3 is 12. So there you go, Arthur. All right, let's go for. Oh, we got some Bears fans. We got some Pack fans in there. That's always a good game. So, all right, cheers, guys. Elijah Craig. Yeah, more of that nutty characteristic has come through. Some fruitiness. Baking spices, oak. Love Elijah Craig. If you guys caught my beginner's guide to bourbon, I definitely included Elijah Craig in there. It's definitely a staple for anyone that's trying to get into bourbon, to definitely kind of learn more and taste more. It's awesome. All right, I'm going to pour a little bit into my blend here. All right, there it is. It's getting filled up a little bit. All right, next story here. For history, let's go to history number 5. The bean tradition begins in 1795. The Beam family has one of the best-known names in American whiskey. The man that started would be a family legacy and is now in its 7th generation. That was Jacob Beam, who sold his first barrel of Old Jake Beam Sour in 1795. Since that time, David Beam, David M. Beam, Colonel James Beam, the Jim Beam, Jeremiah Beam, Booker No, and now Fred No have carried the family craft into what has become today. Other members of the Beam family also found a place in Bourbon Story. Jack Beam, Jim's uncle, found in early times. Parker Beam is renowned for his great whiskeys, which receive a tribute every year with the annual release of Parker's Heritage Collection. So you can't celebrate whiskey without talking about the Beam family. Karen B. Fort says you will love that Knob Creek. I'll definitely let you know tomorrow. All right, so I'm going to open up a bottle, guys, that I've never tried when it comes to Jim Beam. I thought I had all the Beams, and then I looked up on the shelf the other day. I'm like, I've never had this one. And that is the Jim Beam single barrel. Now, I know these are single barrels, and they're going to be different, each one you get. But I found it curious. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to pick up one of these and open it up on the live stream. It still has the wrapping on it here. Chad Holly is going. He's jumping in. He's boring his KC pick. All right, here we go. Let's open up this single barrel and see what we get. I'm curious how the flavors are on these single barrels because I've never had one before. Hey, Swan's in the house. How you doing, Sean Moore? Thanks for coming in. Now, I paid about $38 for this, so we'll see if it's absolutely like as much better as some of the other Beam products that I like. So we'll see. All right, this one has a very, very typical beam nose. This, I mean, you talk about peanutty. This is very, very peanutty off the bat. Brandon Weiss says he really enjoyed the bottle he had. Okay, cool. Man, really good on the nose. Definitely all beam. It's oak. It's peanut. I mean, a slight hint of fruit. Not much there. Vanilla caramel. Definitely got some of that Cracker Jack aspect to it. All right, I'm going in for a taste. Here we go. Oh, that's not bad. You know what? That actually well, this is 95 proof, and this actually reminds me a little bit of the Distiller's Cut, but I like the Distiller's Cut better than that. But it's actually not too bad. This one's coming off slightly bitter too, with the oak profile on it. It's good, it's sweet, but it's ending with a slight bitterness, which always kind of kills it for me. Sometimes that goes away with some air. Hopefully that happens with this one. Dram Bam, thank you, ma'am. Jason, you need to get your mom on the phone for a live chat since she's a rock star. Encore. Yeah, I'm going to have to try to do that. If you guys haven't yet, definitely hit that like button, guys. Really appreciate it. Well, that's a little better on the second sip there. Yeah, it's weird. It's kind of a this is a very, very sweet, a sweeter Jim Beam profile. It's not as peanut forward. It's not as oak forward. This one comes off a little bit sweeter to me, which is kind of nice. But I would imagine not all the bottles are like that, but pretty good. I'd still probably drink Distiller's Cut or even Repeal Batch over this. So I'm going to pour a little bit in here. I'm going to grab some water. Brandon Weiss says, let it open up. Yeah, I think it definitely needs to open up a little bit. All right, guys. So some programming notes here. You guys should know my next video. I know I haven't put out a video in a while since I was away. I hope you enjoyed the rye video that I did. My next one, and if you've seen some of the whiskey tubers have been doing these 10 whiskeys to try before you die videos. It started with Rob from Whiskey in the Six. Eric Waite did one. Scott from from Scotch Test Dummies did one, which is awesome. So that's going to be my next one. I'm kind of next in line to do that. Rob kind of put forth this challenge for all of us. So I'm going to be filming that one tomorrow and then posting that on Friday. So top 10 whiskeys to try before you die. That's coming this Friday. So hope you guys are ready for that one. All right. Next up in the history we have, is that the next one? Yes. Bourbon advertising begins. The first advertisement for bourbon was printed in the Western Citizen newspaper in Paris, Kentucky in 1821. This is one of my favorite, I do advertising for a living, so this was kind of one of my favorite kind of slides. As you can see, all the old ads that are in there. The old Taylor one, the early times. Granddad is no penny pincher for the old Granddad. And as you can see there, the old Fitz ads that were also in newspapers. Absolutely love that one. Two Sibling Spirits says, while I like Distiller's Cut more, I picked up a couple more Repeal Batch on clearance for $10 each. Couldn't pass. I would totally do that. Sean Moore, Jason, I heard you being in town Friday. Message me. I have some honey holes for you to check out in Central Kentucky. Will do, Sean. Absolutely, man. Yeah, nothing wrong with clickbait month, exactly. So yeah, be doing that video. So yeah, bourbon advertising begins. I pulled up some of my favorite ads that I was kind of researching. Thought they were really interesting. So not really a whiskey to kind of have with that, but just want to show you guys that one. 1821. Let's get into the next one, which is 1823. The sour mash was developed in 1823. Dr. James C. Crowe developed what is known as sour mash at the Pepper Distillery, now known as the Woodford Reserve Distillery. This method of recycling some yeast for the next fermentation revolutionized the way most bourbons and Tennessee whiskeys have been produced since. So, even though you're seeing a good amount of distilleries going for sweet mash now, like such as Peerless, Wilderness Trail, a couple of others kind of using a sweet mash process. It's way more expensive to do that, but at the same time, you do get some fuller flavors there. But sour mash that was created in 1823 is really it's kind of the quintessential process that's used now. So in that, even though I most of these bourbons use sour mash, I guess one of the ones I did want to take out and try with you guys is Michter's Sour Mash. So this is a sour mash whiskey. It's actually technically not a bourbon, but it is made with a sour mash process. So this is one that I'm going to be reviewing soon along with some of the other Michter's offerings in one video. But I wanted to crack this one open and try it with you guys. Hey, Brandon Knight's in the house. How you doing, Brandon? So let's pour a little of this Michter's Sour Mash. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Michter's. I love what they do as far as low entry proof. They have a very, very unique flavor profiles. Like a lot of their stuff is just so rich in flavor, and I absolutely love it. So this one on the nose has just a ton of, it's actually very bready on the nose. Getting a lot of, probably that sour mash technique in there. There's a ton of caramel and corn on the nose here. Good amount of fruit. Chad Holly just had the toasted bourbon. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm a big fan of everything they do that's toasted. I have a bottle of the toasted rye up there that I'm in love with. And I cannot wait to taste the toasted sour mash that I just got. Really great on the nose. I mean, this is a quintessential bourbon nose, but it's very deep and rich in flavor. You got some baking spices here. All right, let's go for a sip. Cheers. This one is actually very quick on the front of the palate. It doesn't give you a whole lot of flavor, but the mid and finish on this one is an absolute butterscotch bomb. It's a lot of butterscotch on here so far. Now, granted, these bourbons I'm having tonight, could be altering the flavors a little bit, but butterscotch in this one is the one that's really sticking out. Mick Foles, I have a Michter's tasting coming up. Get to try all the US 1 products, the 10-year rye, 10-year bourbon. I'm stoked. Yeah, the 10-year rye is just amazing. 10-year bourbon, really good too. I still prefer the barrel-proof bourbon over the 10-year any day of the week, but that's just me. I like this. This could definitely enter kind of my everyday sipper type realm. It's sweet, really easy to drink, not a super long finish. That one's really nice. I'm a big fan of the sour mash, even though it's technically a whiskey, not a. I get that also, Jason. Yeah. So yeah, Oak and Smoke Whiskey Reviews. It's definitely a butterscotch bomb on the palate. If you like butterscotch, then try out that small batch sour mash. The small batch sour mash is more of that butterscotch bomb, while the Michter's US American, the blue label, to me is just like drinking vanilla ice cream. So I'm going to be doing that one, the US sour mash, and the regular bourbon offering in one review as the three kind of core products. Oak and Smoke, agreed. Let's see. Yeah, Dusty Dan, he reviewed it on his channel. He loved the sour mash. Totally love it. Wow, we got 124 watching in the chat. Awesome, guys. This is awesome. All right. Let's go to the next story, guys, for history. And let's see what we have. This goes to history number 8. 1840. It's officially bourbon time. Although bourbon whiskey had been distilled in the old Bourbon County areas for decades, it was not until 1840 that it officially became known as bourbon. Prior to this, it was often labeled Bourbon County whiskey or Old Bourbon County whiskey. So 1840 is when it officially was named bourbon, which I always thought was really interesting. That moves us on to the next one. Stitzel Distillery established 1872. It was not until the near 1900s that the A.P.H. Stitzel Distillery became significant in bourbon whiskey's history. The famous Julian P. Van Winkle, or Pappy, and a partner acquired the distillery, which was known for its excellent sour mash whiskey. Just before Prohibition, Pappy began producing Old Rip Van Winkle bourbon, and he later became the oldest active distiller at age 89. During the country's dry period, the Stitzel-Weller distillery held one of the few licenses to produce medicinal whiskey, and when the country was once again wet, they produced brands like Old Fitz, Cabin Still, and Rebel Yell. It was not until 1972 that Pappy's son, J.P. Van Winkle, resurrected the original Old Rip Van Winkle brand, which lives on today. So, a lot of people talk about the Stitzel brand and the Pappy and kind of the lore of that, and it's one of those everyone kind of goes crazy for those old bottles of Stitzel-Weller juice, and with good reason. I've only ever had a small pour of one. And there's a huge difference, and there's a huge viscosity to that bourbon, and just a different flavor profile that I absolutely love. So, cheers to Stitzel-Weller. And in that spirit, I'm going to be having and where is it? Oh, it's all the way over there. Hold on. Going to be opening up or finishing pouring some Weller 12. So have a little bit of Weller 12 with you guys. I'm going to do it in my mash and drum whiskey glass right here. Dusty Dim, is that a 2019 bottle? Are you asking about the Weller 12, Dan? A little bit of Weller 12. Weller 12 is a great bourbon. I love it. It's definitely it's delicious. It's got 12 years to it. Nice big age statement. But definitely do not pay secondary prices for it. It's just not worth that. But definitely a damn fine bourbon. Yeah, I mean, this has that Weller, that wheated fruitiness to it with a good amount of sweet oak flavor. The sour mash. Yeah, that's a 2019, Dan. As this one's opened up, it's gotten a lot more fruity on the nose, and also the caramel has just really intensified from when I first opened it. It starts off, I think, to me, every bottle of Weller 12 I've ever had, especially at the top, definitely starts off more oaky. As it opens up, more of the sweet flavors come through. Definitely becomes a little bit better of balance. I still prefer Weller Antique over this one. You know what? Let's do this. Let's, for Pappy Van Winkle, let's make a poor man's Pappy. We're going to mix some Weller 12 and some Weller Antique. Make a little bit of a poor man's Pappy here. And we'll sip that. I do not have any Pappy, so never been lucky enough to find one at a good price or to acquire one at a decent price. So it's nothing that I actually search out because, the Rip Van Winkle 10, the Pappy 12. I actually chose Van Winkle 12. I don't want to get killed. The Weller 12, I actually picked in a blind on my 1-year anniversary show over the Van Winkle 12. I just think the Van Winkle 12 was just flat. It was a little bitter. Wasn't crazy about it. I liked the Weller 12 over that. So I had actually no desire to get the Van Winkle 12. The Rip Van Winkle 10-year, it's a good bourbon, but, there's other 10 years. I would take the Michter's 10 probably over it, or most of them over that one. Pappy 15, I would love to own one of those just because I think it's the best of the bunch. 20 is very good. 23 is a little bit over oaked for me. But I would only buy those at retail. Yes, Dre, man. Yeah, Lot B is not Pappy. I know. I messed up again. Richie Z, my blend again entry is on its way, and coincidentally, there's another I threw in there package with Stitzel-Weller juice in it. Oh, Richie's getting serious. Everyone get those blend again entries in. That's true. It's gonna be a long month of trying some great blends from you guys. I'm still convinced that one of you is throwing some Jephthah in there. ADHD fishing. You ever tried Jacob's Ghost? No, I have not. Whiskey Mick. I'll put my name in the Pappy ladder here in PA, but that's as far as I go with my search. Same here. I do it in the Ohio one every year. I've come up 2 years. I have not tried any of them. But the 15 is definitely probably my favorite. Brandon Weiss, how about a 1 ounce pour of Pappy 23 for $150? Nah, I've had it. I'm good. Okay, cool. Let's go for some poor man's Pappy. Cheers. Oh wait, we got a dancing Ron Swanson. Arthur Lopez donated $4.99 through the super chat. Thank you so much, man. You are an all-star. Thank you. Here's for you, Arthur. Woo! Good stuff, man. All right. Poor man's Pappy. Here we go. You know, when I compared this to the actual Pappy I had, I mean, it was kind of close, but not really close. Those extra years in the barrel, you just can't come close to when you're in a blend. The blend definitely helps as far as balancing out flavors. You might get the balance that you get in a Pappy, but you're not going to get the just the impact of that extra age and maturation in a barrel. But definitely damn good. Bourbon Apprentice. I've had Pappy 15 twice and enjoyed it a lot, but it's no better than 1920 or any of the other affordable bourbons in my top 5. Bourbon Apprentice, I would wholeheartedly agree with that statement. All right. So I'm going to pour a little bit of the Pappy blend in my ongoing blend here. And, what do we got here? Okay. All right, let's go to the next story. We're winding down soon, guys. 19... where would we go? There we go. 1920, 1933. U.S. Prohibition. Boo. The temperance movement finally got what they wanted when the U.S. Congress passed the 18th Amendment prohibiting the manufacture and sale of alcohol. The entire adult beverage industry was shattered. Hundreds of businesses were shut down and many went underground. The majority of bourbon distilleries were closed, many never to reopen, but a few, like the Samuels and the Beam families, and also, as we learned, Stitzel-Weller, came back after the repeal prohibition and resurrected the craft of bourbon distilling. The government issued 10 licenses to produce medicinal whiskey, only 6 of which were ever activated. One of those companies was Brown-Forman, which now produces Woodford Reserve on the site of the Prohibition-era distillery. Prohibition ended on December 5th, 1933. Happy days are here again. So, with that, you know what I'm taking out, guys. Old Forester 1920 Prohibition. Just one of my all-time favorite bourbons. Like I said, it might be my number one go-to right now. It might have surpassed one of my other ones that I had as my number one. Knob Creek Single Barrel was my number one for a while, but I think this one is quickly might be surpassing it now. Old Forester Prohibition 1920 coming in at 115 proof. Made by Brown-Forman, one of the medicinal whiskey producers. Take care, Loch Ness. Cheers, man. Yeah, 13 years, man. Oh, this is just so chocolatey and rich. Chocolate, cherry. It's like one of those like dark chocolate covered raspberries that you get. It's fruity, it's deep, it's rich. Yeah, I mean, the Pappy's good for that vanilla note, that intense vanilla extract type note to it, but this is just awesome. So good. Cheers, guys. Here's to the end of Prohibition. Yes, so good. I absolutely love that bourbon. it's just, I know it's $60 and it might be a little bit out of some people's price ranges, but the one caveat I have to that is that you can buy a bottle of Prohibition and you could sip on it a little bit. You could slip on it slowly, pretty much, for a long time. It's 115 proof. You could really kind of milk that bottle a little bit for a good amount of time. So, Joseph Brazo says, ironic tidbits. The first state to begin Prohibition in 1919 was Kentucky. The first state to start selling liquor again in 1933 was Utah. Very, very cool tidbit, Joseph. Thanks for that. Wow, Utah ended up being the first one that started selling liquor again in 1933. I'm going to write that down. That's a cool tidbit. Thanks for that, man. Cascading fruit and chocolate notes. Absolutely. The chocolate notes in here is just so good. Brandon Weiss, I can get the 1920 for $46. My goodness, I'd be buying it by the case. Woo. Oh. If you haven't had 1920, you need to go get it now. I don't know what you're doing. I'm going to pour that in my blend. I also want to mention, with the after Prohibition, remember, so Prohibition ended in, where is it here? 1933. But before that, what I forgot to mention was the Bottled and Bond Act, which is probably one of the most well-known events in bourbon and whiskey legislation. I mean, it became to a point where Colonel Taylor kind of spearheaded this entire movement. Created this Bottled and Bond Act so people stopped screwing with the whiskey and selling it, and literally people were dying. Again, another just amazing note in bourbon history, and some of that I've mentioned that I've read what's called Bourbon Justice, one of those laws that shaped bourbon history and also food history and marketing history as it went on. It's just, I don't think they realized the impact of what they were doing when they created the Bottled and Bond Act and how impactful it was. So I had some Evan Williams Bottled and Bond before, but the Bottled and Bond Act, another huge step in whiskey and bourbon history. Oh yeah, Rare Breed. That's another great one. Another great value. All right, we're winding it down, guys. Let's go to 1964. Bourbon is named America's native spirit. An act of Congress declared bourbon as America's native spirit and the country's official distilled spirit. At this time, the current regulations defining what whiskey can be called bourbon whiskey were established. So another huge momentous type of event in bourbon history, 1964. I mean, if you think about it, all the history of bourbon and whiskey, that's not that long ago. That's when it became America's native spirit. So I really thought that was interesting. Take care, Tammy. Nice seeing you. And then to finish it out, guys, 2007, which is also not that long ago, National Bourbon Heritage Month, which we are celebrating the kickoff tonight, was named. In August 2007, the United States Senate declared that September is recognized as National Bourbon Heritage Month. While this may not have been much impact on the average consumer, it is an honor for the craftsmen in the bourbon industry. The designation is designed to celebrate America's native spirit and the significant historical, economic, and industrial role the bourbon industry has played in the country's history. So, that's, when you think about it, 2007, August, it's really not that long ago that they declared September to be now National Bourbon Heritage Month. So I really think that's amazing. And to kind of finish that out, what was it that I had to kind of finish it out? Oh yeah, my blend. So I kind of blended all these together as we were going through the night. That's how much I have. Definitely probably not going to drink all this. But thank you for coming in tonight, guys. It's Bourbon Heritage Month. It's the kickoff. Enjoy your September. Definitely, have some great bourbons. Share them with family and friends. This is to you guys. Cheers. Let's see how the blend came out, guys. I think with all the Evan Williams and Jim Beam stuff in there, it's very, very nutty. It's extremely peanut forward. But good. I could actually taste the French oak in that from the Maker's Mark. That's crazy. There's a French oak aspect to it. Really, really nice. Hey, Duck Chrisoff just came in with a super chat. I think we're going to see the dancing... there he is. There's Ron Swanson. $10 for super chat. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Doug. All right, guys. Before we sign off, I want to do some giveaways. I would like to give away 2 samples of this Russell's Reserve Father's Day pick that I have. So don't go anywhere. We'll do 2 quick questions before we sign off. Let's see who gets this one first. Thanks for coming in, guys. Top it off with Jephthah. Nope. Learn more here than 6 years of high school. All right, guys, here we go. So if you guys are left in the chat, we have 105 still left watching for a sample of my Russell's Reserve Father's Day pick. I'm going to go back to what Joseph Brazo said. What was the state and what was the year of what that they were able to sell whiskey for the first time post-Prohibition? Everyone's scrolling up the chat to see. Trev Wilson, you nailed it. That's Trev Wilson is first on my chat, guys. So Trev Wilson, you got it. I'm glad Trev Wilson won. He is part of the pre-game Master and Drum Whiskey Room family, which is awesome. So thank you so much. All right, so let's see if you guys are paying attention. What was the year for the second sample? What was the year that... wait, let me go back to that and make sure I got the right one. Okay, here we go. What was the year that Bourbon County in Kentucky was established? What was the year that Bourbon County in Kentucky was finally established? I'm just looking for the year, guys. See how much you were paying attention. Nope, nobody's got the years yet. I'm looking. Nope. Oh, you're close, Bourbon Apprentice. Brandon Weiss got it. 1785. Brandon Weiss. Congrats, buddy. All right, our 2 winners, Trev Wilson, Brandon Weiss. I will reach out to you guys to get you your sample of this Russell's Reserve Father's Day pick. It's absolutely delicious. I think you'll really like it. And with that, guys, thanks for joining me tonight. Head over to Cast Strength, watch their live that just started about 8 minutes ago. Thanks for coming in tonight. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the support. Keep an eye out for my next video on Friday, the top 10 whiskeys to try before you die. I'm going to have some more of my blend. Happy Bourbon Heritage Month. And like I always say, it's not about the whiskey. It's the people you share it with. So cheers, guys, and I will see you next week. Take care.